This is The Cut, American Whiskey, Daily. Jim Beam just dug up a bowling pin. A 1950s decanter shaped like one, once handed out as a gift to distillery workers, is back, filled with real 10-year, 100-proof bourbon, and sold only at one address in Claremont. I'm John from Chasing the Unicorn podcast. Here's what moved today, August 25th, 2026. Today's big move starts back in the 1950s, when Jim Beam handed its distillery workers a strange little gift, bourbon in a bottle shaped like a bowling pin. Nothing serious, a keepsake. This week, Beam brought that shape back, and this time it isn't a throwaway. The new 10-pin decanter holds a real 11-year-old, no, a real 10-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon, bottled at a full 100 proof. That's a bigger commitment than it sounds like. Most heritage-shaped revivals skip the age statement entirely and just pour in whatever's sitting around, because the bottle is the point, not what's inside it. Beam did the opposite. Real age, real proof, dressed up in a shape from 70 years ago. You can only get it one place, the American Outpost, the retail shop at the Beam Distillery in Claremont, Kentucky. It's $124.99, quantities are limited, and it's tied to Jim Beam Day, marking more than 230 years of the family's bourbon-making history. Eighth-generation master distiller Freddie No put it simply, this is one of those pieces of Beam history that people remember. No website, no lottery, you have to show up in person, which is unusual in a year when almost everything limited runs through an app. Nothing about this changes what's on your local shelf this week. What changes is whether a distillery trip is worth planning. Now, over in today's label room, this is where I go through what's actually getting filed with the government this week, and one filing this window is worth slowing down on. It isn't the Beam story. It's a bottle out of Louisville, and it's doing something the 10-pin isn't. Bro Brothers Distillery, Kentucky's first black-owned distillery, just filed specs on 2 bourbons made in partnership with the Belle of Louisville, that old steamboat that's been running the river since 1914. Captain's Cut comes in at 96 proof for $79. Its cask-strength sibling comes in at 118 proof for $89. 22 points of proof between them, filed together, sold together. One bottle for a casual pour, one for somebody who wants the full punch. Portions of the money from both go toward keeping that steamboat afloat, literally. Here's why I think this one matters more than a nostalgia bottle. The Beam decanter is about looking backward, a shape from the 50s, dressed up again. Bro Brothers is doing the opposite. They're a 5-year-old distillery, founded by the Yarbrough brothers, first black-owned operation admitted to the Kentucky Distillers Association, and they're using this release to fund a piece of Louisville's actual working history while building toward their own future, a new 15,000-square-foot distillery opening at Waterfront Park next month. CEO Victor Yarbrough called it a tribute to 2 Louisville originals and the river that connects them. That's a young company spending its shelf space on somebody else's landmark. You don't see that filing every week. There's a bottle signing this Saturday, August 29th, right at their current waterfront location, if you want to shake the hand behind it. Now, a quick first sip. Redwood Empire just put out a new bottle called Hyperion, and it's a good excuse to talk about the mash bill, the grain recipe that goes into the still before anything's distilled. So here's what it is. Every bourbon is at least 51% corn, and the rest of that recipe is where the flavor direction actually gets decided. Rye adds spice and a sharper finish. Wheat softens everything out, rounder, mellower. Malted barley helps the fermentation along and leaves a faint biscuit note behind. Most American whiskey stays in one lane. It's a bourbon or it's a rye, and that's that. Redwood Empire's Hyperion doesn't. It blends bourbon, rye, wheat whiskey, and single malt into one bottle. 32, 30, 25, and 13% in that order. You don't need a $99 4-way blend to feel this for yourself, though. Grab a wheated bottle like Maker's Mark and a high rye bottle like Bullet, pour them side by side, and the difference hits you almost immediately. One soft, one sharp, same legal category the whole time. What this changes. Once you can taste the grain bill instead of just reading it on a label, every bottle on the shelf starts making a lot more sense. If you're logging pours in the Perfect Pour app, put that wheated bottle and that high rye bottle back to back in your rickhouse. Your pour print will start showing you which grain family you actually reach for. One more thing worth your attention before I go. There's a raffle closing tomorrow, benefiting the VAREP Central Kentucky chapter. That's a veteran support group. And it's built around Buffalo Trace's Double Eagle Very Rare 20-year as the grand prize. 10 total prize slots, not one. Alongside the Double Eagle sits an Eagle Rare Buffalo Trace Antique Collection 17-year, plus 8 more bottles of Eagle Rare. $100 a ticket, no per-person limit, 500 tickets total. It closes tomorrow at 7, drawing at 8, so this is today or never. If you've been sitting on the fence about a raffle like this, the math here is better than most. 10 winners instead of 1, for a cause that's easy to feel good about. So here's the one thing to take with you today. Some bottles earn their story by looking backward. and some earn it by building something forward. Jim Beam dug up a shape from the 50s. Broff Brothers is funding a steamboat and opening a new building at the same time. Both are worth your attention, but only one of them is spending its history on somebody else's. That's The Cut. The full American whiskey industry brief is free every morning at chasingtheunicornpodcast.com. I'm John Schuster. Thanks for joining me. Your unicorn is out there.